Good day, everyone. Today we will continue discussing essential topics about media and information literacy. And we will again review and discuss the learning activity sheet as provided by DepEd to the students in senior high school. So, are you ready now? Let's get it on!
Welcome everyone to my channel. My name is Mon, Sir Mon.
Okay, our previous competency is to contrast indigenous media to the more common sources of information such as library, internet, and other sources of information. This week, our competencies is to present an issue in varied ways to disseminate information using the codes, convention, and language of media. Okay? So let's move on. Marshall McLuhan, in his essay The Medium is the Message in 1964, said that media shape and control the scale of form of human association and action. Media are no longer considered as mere channels that transmit messages from the sender to the receiver. That's passé. Their very essence as media is enough to be considered as the message itself. This happens through the use of media languages. This means that the form of a medium embeds itself in the message, creating a symbiotic relationship by which the medium influences how the message is perceived. Wow! So let's define some terms that we will use. Okay? Dictionary definition of language is a system of communication used by a particular country or community. The principal method of human communication, consisting of words used in a structured and conventional way and conveyed by speech, writing, or gesture. For purposes of our lesson, language pertains to the technical and symbolic ingredients or codes and conventions that media and information professionals may select and use in an effort to communicate ideas, information, and knowledge. If you have read the book series of Harry Potter, very popular, and at the same time watch its movie, and you may have noticed that many of the elements in the books, or in the, it's a series of books, right? Were not accurately represented in the movie's tie-up. For example, in the book, Harry Potter was described as a boy with a thin face, knobbly knees, black hair, and bright green eyes. Yet, in the film, the actor who portrayed Potter did not actually look as close to the character, or at least to the person in the book. Okay? Now, different media and information sources use languages that communicate different messages. In this lesson, you will learn how ideas are communicated through and by the various media and information sources that have been discussed in the previous lessons, and how to use media languages in conveying messages through different media. The book and the film versions of Harry Potter aim to deliver the same story. Okay? However, because print and film use different media languages, the audience received the same story. Okay? The same plot. Yet, with varying messages. Okay? Media languages. What is it? This is how the media communicates to the audience. There are different types of media languages, which include written, verbal, nonverbal, visual, and oral. Media languages are comprised of codes, conventions, formats, symbols, and narrative structures that indicate the meaning of media messages to an audience. Okay? Media languages, again, let's continue, can be written or writing styles and punctuations, Verbal, using diction, stress, etc. Non-verbal, like gestures, facial expressions. Could be visual, using camera angles, colors, and oral. Diegetic and non-diegetic sounds. Diegetic sounds are the raw sounds in an audio-video material, like for example the voices, footsteps, etc. While non-diegetic sounds are the sounds that have been added in the post-production state of the material, like sound effects. Okay? Written language, okay, is common in print-based media, also in text such as captions for photographs. The language chosen generates meaning. Captions allow the publication to present a story in a particular way. Verbal language is common in media areas such as television, radio, and film. Of course, you listen to the conversations, right? How the language is delivered and its context used are important factors in the way meaning is generated for the audience. Okay, next, we use nonverbal language, which is, of course, the body language. Refers to gestures and actions. The meaning received by the audience is seen through how the actor uses their body. And visual language is used in television and film. What is on the screen has been chosen specifically to generate a series of effects and meanings, or what we call semiotics. Okay, semiotics. Check on Roland Barthes' A Theory on Semiotics. And semiotics is the study of signs or of the social production of meaning by sign systems, of how things come to have significance by meaning. Barthes was a French linguist who pioneered semiotic analysis of cultural and media forms. Well, specific camera angles and movement are chosen to tell the story and meaning of any scene. Okay? Oral language refers to diegetic or non-diegetic sound. Sound can help create a scene and construct the environment, atmosphere, and mood. The oral language of a media text can also help us to define the genre of a piece. Semiotics is the study of signs and symbols, as said a while ago, and it discusses the literal and potential meanings. There are two identified orders of signification: denotation and connotation, which I will discuss towards the end. Okay? Now, let's move on. Codes. What are codes? Codes are systems of signs which create meaning. There are different types, and the first on my list is technical codes. Second is symbolic codes. And the third is written codes. Okay? So let's talk about them one by one. Okay, nope. Let's go back. Technical codes. Technical codes are ways in which equipment is used to tell the story. It includes sounds, camera angles, types of shots, and lighting. They may include, for example, ominous music to communicate danger in a feature film, or high-angle camera shots to create a feeling of power in a photograph lighting. Okay? Let's move on. Symbolic codes. Symbolic codes show what is beneath the surface of what we see. It includes the language, dress, or actions of characters, or iconic symbols that are easily understood. For example, body language. A red rose may be used symbolically to convey romance, or a clenched fist may be used to communicate anger. Okay? Now, let's move on to written codes. Written codes use language style and textual layout, such as headlines, captions for pictures and videos. An example would be, of course, you can find them on the newspapers, comics, slides, books, blogs, and many others. Okay, let's have a few more. Let's talk about convention. In the media context, it refers to a standard or norm that acts as a rule governing behavior. Messages. Messages, of course, as usual, is the information sent from a source to a receiver. And audience, of course, the group of consumers for whom a media message was constructed, as well as anyone else who is exposed to the message. Audience, of course, right? The receiver. Producers, people who are engaged in the process of creating and putting together media content to make a finished media product. Okay, very common in movies, right? The producers. And consumers of media are the audience, while producers of media are the providers. Okay, they are both stakeholders. Okay, now, let us now proceed to presenting issue to disseminate information using codes, conventions, and language of media. Croteau and Hoynes in 2003 provide several issues that explain how media represent the world. If you can find their book, it provides a framework for understanding the relationship between media and society and helps readers develop skills for critically evaluating both conventional wisdom and their own assumption about the social role of the media. I wish I could have that book too. Okay? Media, the first representations are not the complete realities of the world. Take note. But only results of selection processes that highlight some aspects of reality and neglect the others. Since modern people live in a society saturated with many media messages and information, they tend to be selective in their choices. On the other hand, due to the limitation of time, space, resources, and other constraints, media producers have to take into consideration their target clients or audience, profit, and other aspects in producing information. Take the case of news reports. When Super Typhoon Yolanda hit eastern Visayas in 2013, most media organizations were not able to present all sides of the stories, for they could not reach all the locations affected by the typhoon. Hence, they have only managed to interview or shoot information from selected realities in the area. Okay, let's take a look at these two pictures. First is the aftermath of Yolanda, and the second, that of Typhoon Rolly, which we recently had. And the caption from Rappler online portal saying, and I quote, "While many news organizations are on top of typhoon coverage, Filipinos lose ABS-CBN's crucial reach to the most far-flung communities." Unquote. Well, we will discuss that caption later. Okay? Let's talk about the second issue presented by Croteau and Hoynes. Okay? Is that information producers use media to develop some ideas or to convey beliefs or principles. By doing so, they highlight all pros of the principle, meaning to say all favorable things of the principle that they want to impart to the masses. Take an example of GMA7's My Husband's Lover in 2013, which tackled sensitive issues in the mostly conservative Filipino society, such as homosexuality, homophobia, and gender discrimination. And another one is ABS-CBN2's Budoy from 2011 to 2012, which introduced mental health issues in the Filipino primetime television. There you go, guys. Have you seen these two series? Well, we can talk about that again later. Lastly, the definition of the term real is indefinite for many scholars. They point out that there can never be a real world, since what many perceive as real are only framed to conclude or include certain components of the many-sided reality. Also, culture affects many things, especially how people view reality. For example, explained by sociologist Chester Hunt in 1954, a tree for someone in Manila is something that provides shade and lumber. However, for the Cordillerans, a tree is a home of gods. Okay? So, there you go. With today's rapidly changing media landscape and significantly expanding discussions of the new media world, which now includes digitization, the internet, the spread of mobile media devices, the role of user-generated content, the potential social impact of new media on society and new media's effect on traditional media outlets, one way to analyze media representations is through denotations and connotations. Remember what I told you a while ago. Denotations is the literal aspect of an information. Literal. It is the precise, literal definition of a word that might be found in your dictionary. Connotation refers to the meaning or interpretation people associate with an information. It can take a wide array of positive and negative associations that most words naturally carry with them. Okay? I hope it's quite clear for you now which one is connotation and which one is denotation. Again, activity sheets are given to all students. You are expected to work on the activities independently and to return them before prescribed deadline. Check your LIS or any online activity for this topic. See you all next session. You can do your activities through our online links. Just watch out for more announcements in our online class. Keep safe, everyone. Bye-bye.